The rain had been falling since dawn, turning the town of Harrowfield into a blur of muted colors and impatient footsteps. People rushed along the pavements with their collars pulled up high and their tempers pulled even higher. Among them was Mara Levinson, a woman known in the town office not for her smile, but for how she could silence a room with one sharp look. She walked quickly, her umbrella angled against the wind as if she were fighting the world itself. In a way, she was. For months, Mara had been sinking into a kind of exhaustion she didn't know how to name. Work deadlines piled up like storm clouds, her mother's illness grew heavier to carry, and every attempt at rest felt like dropping into a deeper pit. The world had become something she endured. People were tasks. Conversations were obligations. And kindness, well, kindness felt like a luxury meant for people who weren't drowning. She turned the corner near the small bakery on Maple Street, her mind rehearsing arguments she expected to have in the afternoon meeting. That was when she noticed a little boy standing in the rain. He was small, maybe 7 or 8, with a bright yellow raincoat that seemed almost defiant against the gray world around him. He wasn't crying or calling for help. He was simply standing, staring at something on the ground. Mara almost didn't stop. Almost. She had too much to do, too much to juggle. But the boy's stillness pulled her eyes back. Something about the way he looked, focused, calm in the middle of the storm, made her pause. She stepped closer. "Are you lost?" she asked, her voice clipped from habit. The boy looked up at her, brown hair plastered to his forehead, cheeks pink from the cold. He shook his head. "No. I'm helping him." "Helping who?" Mara followed the direction of his gaze. On the wet pavement lay a pigeon, feathers ruffled and wing twisted awkwardly. It trembled as raindrops hit its back. Mara frowned. "Honey, it's just a bird. You should get out of the rain." He didn't move. "He's hurt," the boy said simply, as if that explained everything. "He couldn't fly. I saw him fall." Mara sighed, already regretting stopping. "There's nothing you can do. It's nature." She forced a smile, tight, impatient. "Why don't you let the rain stop and go home?" The boy bit his lip, glancing back at the bird. "But what if he thinks nobody cares?" The words were so soft, so quietly sincere, that Mara blinked. "Nobody cares." The phrase landed somewhere uncomfortably familiar inside her. She cleared her throat. I'm sure that's not what he thinks." The boy crouched again, shielding the bird with his tiny hands, forming a kind of roof over it. "Mama says that when someone's scared, even if you can't fix everything, you should help them feel less alone." Mara swallowed. She had heard similar advice before, back when her life wasn't built from fatigue and deadlines. Back when kindness hadn't felt like a distant country she no longer had the passport to visit. Her mother used to say things like that too. Before the illness. Before the forgetting. The boy tried lifting the bird. It fluttered weakly and cried out. He froze, worried. "I think he needs to be warm. And maybe a doctor." "Do birds have doctors?" Mara exhaled sharply. "There's a wildlife rescue center on Brookside. But it's far. And honestly, they're usually too busy for pigeons." The boy looked up again, eyes earnest. "But it matters to him." Mara opened her mouth, then closed it. Something in her chest tightened, not painfully, but like a door long shut was being nudged open. "I don't have anything to carry him in," the boy murmured. His small hands trembled. Before she could stop herself, Mara said, "I have a scarf." She didn't know why she said it. The scarf was expensive, a birthday gift from her sister. She took it off slowly, the soft wool already damp, and held it out. The boy's face lit up, not with excitement, but with pure gratitude. A kind she hadn't seen in years. "Thank you," he said, and together they gently wrapped the bird, making a small nest of fabric. "What's your name?" Mara asked. "Evan," he replied. "My school is over there." He pointed vaguely across the street. "I was going home when I saw him fall." Mara nodded. "All right, Evan. If we're doing this, let's do it properly. I'll take you and the bird to the rescue center." Evan's smile widened. "Really?" She tried not to smile back, but her face softened anyway. "Really?" They walked through the rain, Mara holding the scarf-wrapped bird carefully while Evan walked beside her, steady and quiet. Every few seconds, he glanced up at her as if making sure she was still there. "You don't have to come with me," he said shyly. "I know adults are busy." Mara hesitated before answering. Maybe being busy isn't the same as being unable. Evan didn't fully understand, but he nodded as if he did. Mama always said people forget kindness when they grow up. But then somebody reminds them. "Somebody?" Mara asked. "Usually a kid," Evan said with childlike seriousness. "Because kids notice small sad things. Grown-ups only see big loud problems." Mara looked at him, surprised. "You're wise." He shrugged. "Mama says it's not wisdom. It's just paying attention." When they reached the rescue center, a volunteer named Clarissa opened the door, eyebrows raised at the dripping pair. Mara explained quickly, feeling oddly nervous, as if she were asking a personal favor. Clarissa took the bird gently. "He has a broken wing but he's young. With care, he has a good chance." Evan exhaled in relief, shoulders dropping. "So he'll live?" "Most likely, yes," Clarissa said. The boy beamed, and Mara felt something warm spark inside her, small but unmistakably alive. After filling out a small form, they stepped back outside. The rain had softened to a drizzle. Mara handed Evan the empty scarf. "You can keep it," she said. His eyes widened. "But it's yours." "It's his now," she said softly. "You used it for a good thing." Evan hugged it to his chest. "Thank you." Mara expected him to run off, but he lingered. "Can I tell you something?" he asked. She nodded. "When I saw the bird fall, everyone kept walking. Grown-ups. Teenagers. Even a man with a big umbrella who saw him hit the ground." Evan's brows knitted. They saw him. But they didn't stop. Mara inhaled slowly. Evan continued, "I was scared to help alone. But when you stopped, I wasn't scared anymore." His voice, trembling with sincerity, cut through her defenses like sunlight through fog. "You made it easier to be kind," he whispered. Mara felt the words press gently but firmly against her heart. She didn't feel like someone who made anything easier for anyone. She felt tired, brittle, worn thin. But this child, this small stranger, saw something else in her. "Evan," she said softly, "you were already brave. I just walked beside you." He grinned, and for a moment, Mara felt the world tilt in a way that made her feel lighter. They parted ways near the bakery. Evan waved one last time before heading home. Mara stayed where she was, watching him disappear around the corner, a small figure carrying a scarf and something far heavier, the stubborn belief that kindness mattered. She walked to work but didn't rush. For the first time in months, she noticed things, the scent of fresh bread drifting from the bakery, the puddles reflecting bits of sky, the sound of someone laughing across the street. She felt present in her own life again. At the office, people noticed the change before she did. She held doors open. She listened rather than reacted. She thanked the interns sincerely, not mechanically. Even her stern expression had softened at the edges. By noon, her coworkers exchanged curious glances. By afternoon, someone asked whether she'd won the lottery. "No," she said simply. "Just remembered something important." When she visited her mother that evening at the care home, her mother was having a lucid moment, rare, precious. She recognized Mara and touched her cheek gently. "You look softer today," her mother said. Mara almost cried. "I met a child," she said. "He reminded me of things I forgot. Things you used to say." Her mother smiled faintly. "Children are good at that." Mara sat with her for hours, telling her the story about Evan and the pigeon. Her mother listened, eyes warm. "Kindness comes back," her mother whispered before drifting to sleep. "Sometimes it just needs a little hand to guide it." Days passed, then a week. Mara found herself returning to the rescue center one afternoon, unsure why. Clarissa recognized her immediately. "Oh. The pigeon boy's friend." She brightened. "He's healing beautifully. The wing is mending faster than we expected." Mara felt a surprising swell of joy. Clarissa continued, "The little boy came yesterday. Left a drawing of the bird flying again. Said he wanted us to show it to anyone who was having a hard day." Mara laughed softly. "Of course he did." She asked if she could see the pigeon, and Clarissa allowed her into the small recovery room. There, perched in a warm enclosure, was the bird, feathers sleek, eyes alert. He wasn't ready to fly yet, but he was alive, recovering. Mara felt something she hadn't felt in a long time, hope. As she walked out, she caught sight of Evan across the street, skipping alongside a woman who must have been his mother. Evan saw her instantly and waved with a grin big enough to light the sky. His mother turned, and Mara waved back politely. Evan tugged his mother's sleeve, whispering something excitedly. Then he crossed the street carefully and stood before Mara, holding out a folded piece of paper. "I made this for you," he said. Inside was a crayon drawing, Mara and Evan standing under an umbrella together, the bird wrapped in the scarf, rain falling all around them. Above the drawing he had written, in uneven letters, "Thank you for being kind too." The "to" caught in her throat. She knelt down. "Evan, thank you." He shrugged with the kind of innocent wisdom that had changed her life. Kindness comes back when someone starts it. She ruffled his hair gently. "You started it that day." "No," he said simply. "The bird did. We just listened." As Evan ran back to his mother, Mara looked at the drawing again. She realized then that kindness wasn't a grand gesture or a perfect act. It was a small choice, made in a moment when it would have been easier not to care. A small choice a child had been brave enough to make. And because he made it, she remembered how to make it too. The rain had stopped entirely now, sunlight slipping through the thinning clouds. The world felt a little softer. And Mara felt, for the first time in months, that she wasn't drowning anymore. She was resurfacing. Breathing. Not because the burdens had disappeared, but because she had remembered that the world wasn't as harsh as she had let it become. Sometimes, kindness had to be taught again. And on that rainy morning, a child had done exactly that.